Hey everyone, it's me back with another box of magic cards to unwrap for you. Obviously, I've got these Dungeons and Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realm because I bought them at the same time as the last one, and I was going to unwrap them a lot sooner, but didn't. Life gets in the way. But yeah, it's a combination of two things I love: Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. So let's get this film off and then get it open and let's have a look, shall we? So once again, add it with a knife. Call that a knife. This is a knife. Oh, that's a spoon. So you play knifey spoony before. Let's open these up. So we've got packets with Drizzt on them, I think that's what his name is. Let's get one pile out. Let's have a look. So, yeah, doesn't appear to be any other foil, which is strange to me, but they're all draft boosters. Unless I turn out to get like one draft booster pack that has more than just draft boosters in it. That was close. All the way through and almost stabbing yourself in the hand. That's a bad thing. So we'll have a look at the. Oh, we got a treasure token! Yay! But yeah, let's have a look at all of these cards. So, Farida's Fireball. It's an instant. Farida Fireball does 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and then you roll a d20. On a 1 to 9, it does 2 damage to each player, and on a 10 to 20, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Nice. Do reds there. Elturgard Ranger, which is a human elf ranger, so half elf. With reach, when it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Would be nice if I had green wolf creature tokens. Since the fall of Elturel, they've walked the Sword Coast from Tahir to Icewind Dale, eyes always on their prey. Zombie Ogre. I love black cards. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, venture into the dungeon. Enter the first room or advance to the next room. On the plus side, Throg no longer thinks he's clever. Xanathar. Gloomstalker. It's a dwarf ranger. As long as you've completed a dungeon, Gloomstalker has double strike. I'll make sure you never mistake a roper for a stalagmite again. Scion of Stygia, which is a tiefling shaman with flash and has the ability Cone of Cold. When Scion of Stygia enters the battlefield, choose target creature an opponent controls, then roll a d20. 1 to 9, tap that creature. 10 to 20, tap that creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Armory Veteran. It's a orc warrior. As long as it is equipped, it has menace. So when it has an artifact on it, it can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. This one is for goblins. This one is for owlbears. This one is for toast. This one is for... yes. classic D&D trope of just carrying every weapon. You're ambushed on the road. It's an instant. You can choose one, make a retreat, return target creatures you control to its owner's hand, or stand and fight. Target creature gets +1/+3 until end of turn. Hand over your loot and no one gets hurt. Arborea Pegasus. It's a Pegasus with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. The noble steed of the elven gods can sometimes be persuaded to allow mere mortals on their backs. Another white card. Rhymeshield Frost Giant. It's a creature giant warrior with Ward 3, so whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 3. So that's 3 generic mana on top of the cost of the spell. Frost Giants carry the trophies of their greatest victories into battle, fashioned into armor of strength and savage beauty. See, with these ward abilities, I would probably play a deck with mostly those, just to make it just a little bit harder for other decks. Kick in the door. It's a sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. That creature gains haste until end of turn and can't be blocked by wolves this turn. Venture into the dungeon. Enter the first room or advance to the next room. We tried your way, now we do it my way. Jim, Barbarian of Golders Gate. Well, Jim's a good name. Wandering Troubadour. That's Dragon Bard. I would assume that means Dragonborn Bard, but not actually a dragon. Because considering the looks of it, I would have preferred it to be a lizard folk. I love lizard folk. At the beginning of your end step, if you had a land enter the battlefield under your control this turn, venture into the dungeon. Enter the first room. There's a new ballad waiting to be born around every corner. Feywild Trickster. It's a gnome warlock. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, create a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature token with flying. Unlike most warlocks, those who make pacts with Archfey are drawn to pranks and whimsy more so than death and darkness. Because of the Fae. Ooh, we got a artifact. Bag of Holding. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. For 2 mana and tap, draw a card, then discard a card. 4 mana and tap, sacrifice Bag of Holding as well. Return all cards exiled with Bag of Holding to their owner's hand. Leave no treasure behind. Bags of Holding are awesome. Dungeon Descent is a land. Dungeon Descent enters the battlefield tapped. When you tap it, you add 1 generic mana, or if you use 4 land, tap this and tap a untapped legendary creature you control, venture into the dungeon, activate only as a sorcery. So what it means by that is you can only activate it on your turn during one of your main phase steps. And then a basic plains. Venturing beneath the desert sand, you discovered an alien power pulsing with inconceivable energy. So yeah, there are some cards I want out of this, mostly just to piss off my own D&D group. One is the Froghemoth, the one of the big green cards. Hey, we got a fairy dragon. So we can actually use the Feywild Trickster. And that's because our DM wanted to put one of those in our campaign and then we missed it. And the other is Loth, because because I didn't know her name until fairly recently. Well, I did know her name, but I forgot it until fairly recently. And we're currently in the Underdark at the moment. It would piss everyone off if my character started just saying her name out everywhere. Anyway, Bull Strength is an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2, and gains trample until end of turn. Untap it. As the iron bars of the portcullis parted like reeds, the defender of the keep suddenly felt much less secure. That's actually useful for defending against attacks or attacking into people. Precipitous Drop. So this is an enchantment. So you enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. And then the enchanted creature gets -2/-2. It gets -5/-5 instead, as long as you've completed a dungeon. So if you complete a dungeon, then they get -5/-5. That's actually pretty useful. There's some, like, on its own, without completing a dungeon, you could take out the Feywild Trickster, but you could take out quite a few early monsters if you get it early. But if you complete a dungeon and then get -5/-5, you can save it up for like one of the bigger monsters. Delver's Torch. It's an artifact equipment, but it's white, so I don't know which one to put it under. But equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, venture into the dungeon, and it costs 3 to attach this artifact to a creature. Not all of us have dark vision, okay? Calling up the joke that players constantly say that they have dark vision. Contact of a Plane. It's an instant. You roll a d20. On a 1 to 9, you draw 2 cards. On a 10 to 19, you scry 2 cards, then draw 2 cards. So that means you can look at the first 2 cards in your deck, and then either take both of those cards, or take one, put one to the bottom of your deck, and then take another card, or put both of them to the bottom of your deck, and then take the 2 next cards. And if you roll a 20, you scry 3, and then draw 3 cards. So, same thing again, except now it's for 3 cards. That's a very good blue card. I mean, based on randomness, but then a lot of the mechanics that were introduced into this is the Dungeons and Dragons rolling a d20. Brazen Dwarf. It's a dwarf shaman. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, Brazen Dwarf deals 1 damage to each opponent. My grandmother saved the life of a blast dragon, and in return she was given a glimpse of the fire in its heart. A glimpse she passed down to me. I don't think that's a shaman, I think that's more of a sorcerer. Sounds like a dragon blood sorcerer. Spare Dagger. Ah, yes. Artifact equipment. A crit creature gets +1/+0 and has, whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice Spare Dagger. When you do, this creature deals 1 damage to any target. And it only costs 1 to equip, so, you know, if you've got a creature that only needs 1 mana to cast, and then second turn you can cast this and then equip it as well. So that's really good. I would put that as an auto include in any deck. You see a guard approach. So it's an instant, you choose one, distract the guard, attack target creature, or hide. Target creature you control gains hexproof until end of turn. So, again, this is good for attacking into people or being attacked. looks like we've got company. And it only costs 1 mana. Well, 1 blue mana. Dire Wolf Prowler. So it's a wolf, unsurprisingly. Dire Wolf Prowler gets +2/+2 and gains haste until end of turn. Activate only once each turn, and that costs 1 of the green. Large as horses, dire wolves must hunt often to satisfy their ravenous hunger. A mere human does little more than blunt their appetite. That's why you need to play a centaur. Hoarding Ogre. It's a ogre, obviously. Whenever Hoarding Ogre attacks, roll a d20. On a 1 to 9, you create a treasure token, which we've got. It's an artifact with tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any colour. 10 to 19, you create 2 treasure tokens, and on a 20, you create 3 treasure tokens. So, pretty nice. So we got Evolving Wilds. There's a special art for the what is it? The Dungeons and Dragons like 1st edition art style. An adventure for characters levels 1 to 4. Tap and sacrifice it. Search a library for a basic land card. Put it in the battlefield, tap and shuffle. So that's probably also one of those ones that people would say is a automatically include, especially into something like a commander deck. 50 feet of rope. It's an artifact. So if you tap and claim climb over, target wall can't block this turn. If you 3 mana and tap this, it's tie up and target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And for 4 mana and tap, repel down, venture into the dungeon, and activate it as a sorcery, so you can only activate this on one of your main turns. But yes, the fact that you can stop wolves and later on stop creatures is quite powerful indeed. I'm going to have to move this so that I've got more space to put the cards actually. In fact, I'm going to move everything so I can have more space, because we're getting into dual colour cards. I'll put the tokens up there. So Targnar, Demon Fang Gnoll. It's a legendary creature. Oh. With Pack Tactics, whenever Targnar, Demon Fang Gnolls attack, if you attacked with creatures with total power of 6 or greater this combat, attacking creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn. And for 2 mana, for 2 red and green, you can double its power and toughness until the end of the turn. Pretty nice. Ooh, another awesome art card, Black Dragon. It is a dragon with flying, acid breath. So when Black Dragon enters the battlefield, target creature and opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Pretty good. Instrument of the Bards. It's a legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a harmony counter on Instrument of the Bards for 3 and a green and tapping this artifact. Search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to the number of harmony creatures on Instrument of the Bards. Reveal it and put it into your hand. If that target is legendary, create a treasure token, then shuffle. And then we got our basic island. In crystal-studded waters far below the surface, you've discovered an incubating egg of mysterious origin. Nice. Hey, we got a token that's the wrong way around, I think. Or have they all been this way? Oh, I think it is the wrong way around. Oh, right, okay. So this is the token for skeleton, but on the other side it's got one of the dungeons on it. The Lost Mine of Phandelver. That's actually pretty cool. So I might look up which one that is. Which Dungeons and Dragons adventure that is, so I might even run it for my friends. Anyway, spoils of the hunt. It's a instant. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each mana from a treasure that was spent to cast a spell. Then creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. So that's just one of those fight creatures, isn't it? But if you didn't use any treasure, then that means they don't get anything and you just fight. Every coin helps rebuild the town they destroyed. Eyes of the Beholder. Yes, this is actually one of the cards I saw before getting it. I actually really like this. Target creature gets -11 until the end of the turn. It basically just disintegrates anything. There's like very few things that can survive this. In the end, there was nothing beautiful to be seen. Because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. A +2 mace. It's an equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Equip for 3. And the weight of this magic weapon falls heavy on the wicked. Or on the good if it's wielded by the wicked. Oh, that's a white card as well. Clever Conjurer. It's a gnome wizard. Mage Hand. So when you tap this, untap target permanent not named Clever Conjurer. Activate only as a sorcery. I'm always happy to lend a hand. Valor Singer. It's a Tiefling Bard. Combat Inspiration. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. There is only one way forward into Legend. Yes, Lizard Folk. Scaled Herbalist. It's a Lizard Druid, and you can tap it, and you may place a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. I could help you, or I could eat you for lunch. I haven't decided yet. Yes, best card. My favourite card in the set. Just gonna put that up somewhere. Gonna run green deck now. Clattering Skeletons. It's a creature, skeleton. Whenever Clattering Skeleton dies, venture into the dungeon. Those who die in the dungeon become its guardians. Not a bad card. Hey, cool artwork again. Mimic. It's an artifacted treasure. So you can tap it and sacrifice it and add 1 mana of any colour, or Mimic, or for 2, Mimic becomes a shapeshifter artifact creature with base power and toughness of 3 until the end of turn. Okay, that's pretty cool. You come to the Null Camp. It's an instant. So you can intimidate them. Up to 2 target creatures can't block this turn, or you can fend them off. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Easy now, everyone. I'll take care of this. Blink Dog. I think we fought against these in our campaign. So it is a dog. Double strike with teleport, so for 3 and a white. Plague Dog phases out. Treat it and anything attached to it as though they do not exist until your next turn. Plague Dogs protect the wild places of the world, driving away evil influences. So why did we have to fight them? Grim Wanderer. It's a Goblin Warlock with Flash. So you can cast this. You can cast this as an instant. Tragic backstory. Cast a spell only if a creature died this turn. There is a stillness that walks with him, a quiet that follows great tragedy when even mourners are too exhausted to weep. Rally Maneuver. It's an instant. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Up to one other target creature gets +0/+2 and gains lifelink until end of turn. Don't give up. You are steel and fire, and victory is yours to seize. Pretty decent card. And then we got a white. White enters the battlefield tapped. Life drain. Whenever a creature dealt damage by white this turn dies, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token and exile that card. Whites want the world to resound with echoes of their own cruel hatred. Yes. Best spell ever. Power word kill. It's an instant. Destroy target non-angel, non-demon, non-devil, non-dragon creature. This wouldn't work on the bar tool you got on the green side. Aramil issued a long, heroic challenge. The Lich failed him with a single word. Also, a bit shiny. And we got a mountain. You venture deep into the heart of the mountain to determine what you can calm. To determine what can calm. It's Quaking Rage. Didn't read that correctly the first time. Already 30 minutes in, I've only done 3 packs? Not quite 30 minutes in, but yeah. So let's look at the thing first. Oh, hey, Bearded Devil. It's just a devil, but I know that creature because I used it. So when this creature dies, deal 1 damage to any target. Pretty decent. Pretty decent. Fate's Reversal. It's a sorcery. Return up to 1 creature card from your graveyard to your hand and then venture into the dungeon. A doom denied, or perhaps delayed. Dawnbringer Cleric. When Dawnbringer Cleric enters the battlefield, choose 1. By the way. Cure Wounds, you gain 2 life. Dispel Magic, destroy target enchantment. Or Gentle Repose, exile target card from a graveyard. That's actually a pretty decent thing. Like, all 3 of those are really good. Especially Dispel Magic, because especially if you're playing against another white deck and they just have, for some reason, loads of pacifism cards. You just have, a bunch of those just to have just in case. Anyway, Shortcut Seeker. Say Human Rogue. Whenever Shortcut Seeker deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. The old trapdoor under a rock trick. This is almost too easy. Jaded Sellsword. When Jaded Sellsword enters the battlefield, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, it gains first strike and haste until end of turn. Today, that'll cost you extra. Oh yes. Best paladin spell, Compel Duel. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn and must be blocked this turn if able. You might be 4 times my size, but I will not be ignored. Deadly Dispute. It's an instant. Has an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Draw 2 cards and create a treasure token. It's an art. Yeah. That's a pretty ring. Trade you my knife for it. I'm getting a lot of black cards actually. Or am I getting more black cards than anything else? Don't think so. Feign Death. Until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Drastic measure for dangerous times. Baleful Beholder. That's actually a pretty cool artwork. When this enters the battlefield, choose 1. Anti-magic cone. Each opponent sacrifices an enchantment. Or Fear Ray. Creatures you control gain menace until end of turn. Pretty good. Owlbear. It's a creature bird bear, which implies that there are other kinds of bear which have bird features. But it has trample and keen senses. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. It's actually a rare thing that you get from a green card as far as I'm aware. That's more of a blue thing. Many people believe a misguided wizard created the first owlbear, but others insist that these creatures have always dwelled in the Feywild. Yuan-Ti Fangblade. Say a snake rope with Death Touch, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. The air is sweet with the taste of your fear. Ooh, yes. Displace a beast. It's a cat beast as well. When Displace the Beast enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. And it has displacement, so for 3 and a blue, return it to its own sand. The only place you can be sure it is not is wherever it appears to be. Demogorgon's Clutches. Uses the artwork of the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, actually, which is pretty cool. Target opponent discards 2 cards, mills 2 cards, and loses 2 life. So, milling is where you take a card from your deck and put it straight into your graveyard. The good will be corrupted, the kind will be devoured, and all will be dragged into the bottomless abyss. Cloister Gargoyle. It's an artifact creature, gargoyle. When it enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon, and as long as you complete the dungeon, it gains +3/+0 and has flying. Ooh, we got a Planeswalker. Eliwick Tumblestrum. So, it's a legendary Planeswalker, Eliwick. Venture, so, the +1 ability is you enter the dungeon. The -2 ability is look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. If it's legendary, you gain 3 life, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And the -7 ability is you gain an emblem with creatures you control have trample and haste and get +2/+2 for each differently named dungeon you've completed. Pretty cool. And we get a forest as well. As the sun reaches its zenith on the day of the solstice, a castle shimmers into view on the hilltop, just as the ancient text predicted. There we go. Look at the token first. Oh, it's just a wolf. I think I actually had a card that required one of those now. Dwarf Champion. Say a Dwarf Warrior. As long as it's equipped, it gets +0/+2. Courage is neither a shield nor an axe, but the will to wield both in defense of the innocent. We've seen Clever Conjurer before. Dragon's Fire. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand, or choose a dragon you control. Dragon's Fire deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you reveal the dragon card or choose a dragon as you cast the spell, Dragon's Fire deals damage equal to the power of that card or creature instead. Nice. Circle of the Moon Druid. Say a half-elf druid, because it's a human elf druid. Bear form. As long as it's your turn, Circle of the Moon Druid is a bear with base power and toughness of 4/2. It loses all other creature types. Druids of the Circle of the Moon are fierce guardians of nature who haunt the deepest parts of the wilderness. We got Thieves' Tools, which is a equipment. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Equipped creatures cannot be blocked as long as its power is 3 or less, and it costs 2 to equip. Pretty nice. Underdark Basilisk. It's just a basilisk with Death Touch. See how the statues will have chunks bitten out of them. We're dealing with a basilisk, or I'm a Froghemoth. Referencing the card that I won. Goblin Javelineer with cool artwork again. It's a Goblin Warrior with haste, and whenever it becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to target creature blocking it. So, the Hobgoblin Captain. It's got Pack Tactics. Whenever it attacks, if you attacked with creatures with a total power of 6 or greater this combat, Hobgoblin Captain gains first strike until end of turn. Hobgoblins do not fear death, for those who fall in battle have gained glory eternal. Ranger's Hawk. It's a bird, surprisingly, with flying. And for 3 and tap this, you can tap another untapped creature you control. Venture into the dungeon. Activate only as a sorcery. Swift Eyes to scout the way ahead. Oh, we got our first class card. I mean, it's not one that I would have picked, but I mean, cool. We've got the Cleric. So, to gain the next level as a sorcery to add its abilities. So, if you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. So this is a life Cleric, obviously. For 3 and a white, you get to level 2. Whenever you gain life, plus a +1/+1 counter on the target creature you control. And for 4 and a white, you get to level 3. When this class becomes level 3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its toughness. So we got Hulking Bugbear with haste. Bugbears move with surprising speed for their size and bulk, a fact that has led to the demise of many unwary travellers. We got Fly. So this is enchant creature. Enchanted creature has flying, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. Nice. Ooh, we got another legendary creature. Oswald Fizzlebender. Oh, Fiddlebender, I mean. It's a legendary creature, gnome artificer, with magical tinkering. So, for a white and tap, sacrifice an artifact. Search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrifice artifact's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Artifact activate only as a sorcery. Can't see this airship crashing in the near future. Sturdy as a rock. Then we got a foil version of Free as Fireball. And we got another island, but it's a different island. As your ship clears the edge of Waterdeep Harbour, you notice pirate sails on the horizon. What has made them so bold? Ooh. Oh, I stabbed myself in the hand again. Ooh. We've got another one of the dungeon cards. It's a goblin this side, and it's the Dungeon of the Mad Mage on this side. Nice. And the first thing we get is the Potion of Healing. When Potion of Healing enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and for 1 tapping and sacrificing Potion of Healing, you gain 3 life. Magic can knit the body back together, but the courage to fight on comes only from within. Secret Door. It's an artifact creature, a wall defender, and for 4 in the blue, you venture into the dungeon. Activate only as a sorcery. The way opened before him, and the dust of centuries stirred in the air. Got another Jaded Sellsword. Got another Compelled Jewel. Sepulchre Guild. It's a zombie. Sacrifice another creature, and this gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Activate only once each turn. Ghouls devour the dead and any living creature unwary enough to fall into their grasp. Got another +2 mace. Bullet. It's a beast. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Bullet. Capable of moving swiftly even through tightly packed earth and leaping surprising distance above ground. Bullets are difficult to escape once they've caught scent of prey. We fought one. Ooh, leather armor. Equipped creature gets +0/+1 and has ward 1. And oh, it's free to equip. You can only activate it once per turn. I mean, when it is equipped, though, it only works on that one creature. And if you were to equip onto something else, that creature that you equipped it from wouldn't keep the ability anyway. So, auto include anyway. Ooh, Great Axe. A quick creature gets +4/+0, and it costs 5 to attach it. If you're so mighty, scaled 1, then why are you dead? It is a pretty cool card though. +4/+0 isn't too bad. You find the villain's lair. So you can choose one, foil their scheme, counter target spell, or learn their secrets, draw 2 cards, and then discard 2 cards. Give me a moment, I almost have it. Prosperous Innkeeper. Say, Halfling Citizen. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. That is good card, especially early, and it's only 2 mana. Monk of the Open Hand. It's a elf monk with Flurry of Blows. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Monk of the Open Hand. His mind is a tranquil meadow, his fist a raging storm. I know someone who actually would like that because he plays a monk at the moment and his monk is pretty fucking awesome. Oh, we got a black-white. I'll just make sure there's more sense. Barrowin of Clan Under. It's the dwarf cleric. When a Barrowin of Clan Under enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Whenever Barrowin of the Clan Under attacks, return up to 1 creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield if you've completed the dungeon. Nice. Forsworn Paladin. It's a human knight with menace. For a black and 1 and tap, and you pay 1 life, create a treasure token, and for 2 and a black, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. If mana for a treasure was spent to activate the ability, that creature also gains Turf Touch until end of turn. And we got another mountain. Your path lies across the spine of the world, where every cave hides some new danger. Ooh. Is this going to be the same one? Yes, it is. So we got another skeleton. Lost mine of Phandelver. Got another Contact of a Plane. Ooh, Boots of Speed. Artifact equipment. A good creature gets +1/+0 and has haste. And yeah, equip it for 1. Flick your heels and become the wind. So that's something that you want to get down early. So then whenever you put down a new creature, as long as you've got 1 mana left, you can then equip this onto the creature. Each time you put it down, so you just keep attacking all the time. Sylvan Shepherd. Say a human druid with vigilance. Whenever it attacks, you roll a d20. So 1 to 9, you gain 1 life. 10 to 19, you gain 2 life. Or if you roll a 20, you don't gain 3. You don't gain 4. You gain 5 life. Pretty big. That's why it's only on a 20. So, Grim Bounty. It's a sorcery. Destroy target creature or planeswalker and create a treasure token. Freed from the need to pay tribute to the dragon, the villagers gladly paid the dragon slayers instead. Got Gloomstalker. Got another Shortcut Seeker. Neverwinter Dryad. So it's a Dryad. And for 2 and sacrificing this, search a library for a basic forest card and put it onto the battlefield. Tapped, then shuffled. Pretty nice. We got a Gnoll Hunter. We didn't have a Gnoll Hunter before, did we? No, the only Gnoll we've had is the Demon Fang Gnoll. It has Pack Tactics. So power greater than 6. You put a +1/+1 counter on this. Yipping and cackling. The hunters tore through the village, leaving nothing but snapped bones and burning homes in their wake. Got another Hobgoblin Captain of a hoarding ogre. You find some prisoners. It's an instant. You choose one, break their chains, destroy target artifact, or interrogate them. Exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library, choose one of them. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to cast it. Oh, this is one that comes up a lot in RD&D, Hunter's Mark. It's an instant. The spell costs 3 less if it to cast if it targets a blue permanent you don't control, and it cannot be countered as well. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Then it deals damage equal to its power to target creature of planeswalker you don't control. Nice. Purple Worm. It is a worm, and it costs 2 less to cast if a creature died this turn, and it has Ward 2. Underground civilizations maintain magical barriers around their settlements to deter these monsters. It's an 8 and 7. Nice. Yuan-Ti Malison. Malison, yes. It's a snake rogue. Can't be blocked as long as it's attacking alone. Deals combat damage when it deals combat damage to a player. Venture into the dungeon. Silent, slithering, sinister. And then we've got a forest. Before the Elf Queen will aid you, you must find a way to cure the strange rot afflicting the roots of the ancient trees. Look at the a dog illusion. This creature's power and toughness are equal to twice the number of the cards in your hand. Earth Cult Elemental. So it is an elemental with a siege monster. When it enters the battlefield, roll a d20. You roll a 1 to 9, each player sacrifices a permanent. You roll 10 to 19, each opponent sacrifices an opponent. And if you roll a 20, each opponent sacrifices 2 permanents. Nice. Plummet. Destroy target creature with flying. The dragon's noxious breath withered the forest. The whistle of 100 arrows filled the air. The ground roiled as if shaken by an earthquake. The tyrant fell from the sky. Got another zombie ogre. Got another potion of healing. Got another synesthesia. Got another Valising. Got another guard approach. Got another Rhymeshield Frost Giant. The Ginny Windseer. Jin. With flying. And when it enters the battlefield, you roll a d20. 1 to 9, you scry 1. 10 to 19, scry 2. Or 20, scry 3. So when you're just scrying, you look at the top 1, 2, or 3 cards in your library. You can choose whether to keep them on the top or put them on the bottom. Or in what order you keep them on the top as well. We've got another kick in the door. Ooh, another class card. Druid class. So, whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. For 2 in the green, you may play an additional land on each of your turns. And for 4 in the green, when this class becomes level 3, target land you control becomes a creature with haste, and this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. It is still a land. So, yeah. That creature would have a minimum 5 when you do that. Split the party! Don't do this. Choose target player. Return half the creatures they control to the owner's hand. Rounded up. Don't. Hey, we got another split colour card. So yeah, blue-red this time. Farida, Devil's Chosen. Dark One's Own Luck. Whenever you roll one or more dice, Farida's Devil's Chosen gains flying and menace until end of turn. If any of those results was 10 or higher, draw a card. A pact is a tool, not a damnation. You got Cave of the Frost Dragon. It's a land. If you control 2 or more other lands, Cave of the Frost Dragon enters the battlefield tapped. You tap it, add to white, and for 4 and a white, it becomes a 3/4 white dragon creature with flying until the end of the turn, and it's still a land. Pretty decent. And we got a Plains. Seeking to learn why the ancestors have fallen silent, you've made your way to their ancient cairns. Right, that's oh, we got another treasure token. Hill Giant Herd Gorger. Say giant. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. A shepherd's crook is useful for cleaning bits of wool out of the teeth. Shambling Ghast. When it dies, you choose one. Break the Stench. Target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Or search the body. Create a treasure token. Paladin Shield. So here, equipment with flash. Okay. So that can be cast whenever. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to... okay, so when it enters, you attach it. That's why it has flash. That's what I was confused about. And then the equipped creature gets +0/+2, and to equip it to another creature, it costs 3. Bar the Gate. It's an instant. Counters target creature or planeswalker spell. Venture into the dungeon. The path is closed to you. We've got another Dragon's Fire. Improvised Weaponry. Improvised Weaponry deals 2 damage to any target. Create a treasure token. Although anything can be a weapon if you swing it hard enough. I don't know where I got although from. You find a cursed idol. Choose one. Smash it. Destroy target artifact. Lift the curse. Destroy target enchantment. Steal its eyes. Create a treasure token and venture into the dungeon. Steal its eyes. Jesus. Got another Baleful Beholder. Silver Raven. It's an artifact creature, bird, with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you scry 1. Wings take flight on whispered wind. We got another dual colour card, this time blue-black, and it's a Cradle of Baldur's Gate. So it's a human elf rogue, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player... Ooh, wait. Sorry about that, TV went on. So, where was I? Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player loses 1 life and mills a card. You gain 1 life and scry 1. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2. If you do, target creature cannot be blocked this turn. Ooh, we got the Warlock class. So at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. When this class becomes level 2, so this is 1 in the back, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, and put the rest into your graveyard. 6 in the back to get to level 3. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. Okay. Kalane, Reclusive Painter. So yeah, red and a black. It's a legendary creature. Cool artwork. Human elf bard. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Other creatures you control on the battlefield with additional +1/+1 counter on. Other creatures you control enter the battlefield with additional +1/+1 counter on them for each mana from a treasure spent cast. Nice. Loyal Warhound. It's a dog with vigilance. Oh, that's a good card. When Loyal Warhound enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, search a library for basic plains card. Put it onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. A paladin steed is a celestial spirit in animal form. Nice. Then we got a shiny, special artwork, Drustil Hood. It's an elf ranger, double strike. When it enters the battlefield, create Gunwava, a legendary 4/1 green cat creature token with trample. Whenever a creature dies, if it had power greater than Drizzt power, put a number of +1/+1 counters on Drizzt equal to the difference. That's a green-white card as well. And then we got another island. I think this is different from the ones we've had before. After careful study, you've determined that the giant ruins serve to track the movement of the planets, and they will soon align once more. Just can't stop opening packets, can I? It's just an advert for Arena. Find the path. It's a enchantment land. Oh, you enchant a land. When it enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. An enchanted land has tap, add 2 green. That's pretty nice. Got another precipitous drop. Minimus Containment. It's a enchantment aura. Enchant non-land permanent. Enchanted permanent is a treasure artifact with tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any colour, and it loses all other abilities. If it was a creature, it's no longer a creature. That's actually pretty nasty to do to someone. It doesn't say that it goes into your controller. So you'd be giving someone a treasure in exchange for a creature. Arcane Investigator. Say elf wizard. You search the room, so for 5 and a blue, you roll a d20. 1 to 9, you draw a card. 10 to 20, look at the top 3 cards in your library. Put one of them in your hand, and the rest of the bottom is your card library in any order. Got another Brazen Dwarf. Got another Plummet. And we got a Manticore. It's a creature with flash, flying, and tail spikes. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature and opponent controls that was dealt damage this turn. Underdark Basilisk again. Feigned Death again. You find the villains there again. Moonblast Cleric. Divine Intervention. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. Selûne guides her devotees with majestic wisdom and grace. Burning Hands. It deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that permanent is green, it deals 6 damage instead. A simple fire spell that grows in intensity along with its caster. Power of Persuasion. Choose target creature an opponent controls, then roll a d20. 1 to 9, return it to owner's hand. 10 to 19, its owner puts it on the top of or bottom of their library. 20, gain control of it until the end of your next turn. I actually don't think the 20 is as good as it looks, because it's only until the end of your next turn. Wizard Spellbook. It's an artifact. When you tap it, exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Roll a d20, activating it as a sorcery. 1 to 9, copy that card, you may cast a copy. 10 to 19, copy that card, you may cast a copy by paying 1 rather than its mana cost. And 20, copy each card exiled with Wizard Spellbook. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana costs. Nice. That's a good card. And we got a Swamp. You search for a stolen artifact. Your search for a stolen artifact has brought you to the edge of the Mere of Dead Men. Don't know what a mere is. Probably a swamp. And we got another one of these skeletons that are also, yeah, lost mine to Fandover again. We got more Thieves' Tools. Got a Priest of Ancient Lore. Say Dwarf Cleric. When Priest of Ancient Lore enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life and draw a card. We are a product of our ancestors, the apotheosis of countless noble generations. Speak their name with reverence, and they will guide your path. Warden Canaan's Polymorph. Until the end of turn, target creature becomes a dragon with base power and toughness of 4/4 and gains flying. Your purpose may change along with your shape, but you will serve regardless. Price of Loyalty. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. If mana from a treasure is spent on the spell, that creature gains +2/+0 until end of turn. Most folks got mayhem in their hearts. Just gotta know their price. Inspiring Bard. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Target creature gets +3/+2 until end of turn, or you gain 3 life. Wake up, my friends. There are deeds to be done and treasure to be won. Another Eyes of the Beholder. Yes. I need as many of these as I can in my life. Another Ginny Winseer. Steadfast Paladin. It's a Dwarf Knight with lifelink. When I made my oath to Moradin, I left selfishness and cowardice behind. Every battle, I make that commitment in you. Oh, hey. Cool art bullet. Another, you come to a null camp. Gretchen Titchwillow. Halfling Druid. 2 in a green and a blue, draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Choose your weapon. So, it's an instant, you choose 1. 2 weapon fighting. Double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn, or archery. The spell deals 5 damage to target creature with flying. Move it, Valis, or I'll pick one for you. Another power word kill. A deck of many things. So, 2 mana and tap. You roll a d20 and subtract the number of cards in your hand. If the result is 0 or less, discard your hand. So for 1 to 9, return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand. 10 to 19, draw 2 cards. Or 20, put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When that creature dies, its owner loses the game. Oh, that is harsh. That is harsh as fuck. Got another mountain. You meant to simply rest in Huddlestone, but the miners have told you stories of whispers in the dark below. The last pack of this lot. We are starting to get into getting duplicate cards again, aren't we? So that might make the next pack easier, simpler, quicker. One of the things. Another fairy dragon. Planar ally. It's a angel with flying. Whenever it attacks, venture into the dungeon. Her light touches every corner, and her wings brush either wall, leaving no place for evil to lurk. Shocking Grasp. Target creature gets -2/-0 until end of turn, and you draw a card. Metal Armor, poor choice. Another Boots of Speed, another Bull Strength. Hired Hexblade. When Hired Hexblade enters the battlefield, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. I'll take care of it. You just be sure to hold up your end of the deal. Don't use... Well, I mean, if you want to draw a card, then use a treasure, but otherwise, don't. Spiked Pit Trap. It's a artifact with flash. For 5 and a tap, and you sacrifice the card. Choose a target creature, then roll a d20. 1 to 9, it deals 5 damage to that creature. Or 10 to 20, it deals 5 damage to that creature and creates a treasure token. Nice. Plundering Barbarian. So when you enter the battlefield, you can either smash the chest and destroy a target artifact, or pry it open and create its treasure token. You come to a river. Choose 1, fight the current, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, or find a crossing. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked. Vampire Spawn. When Vampire Spawn enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Unsuccessful vampire hunters often wind up as Ravenous Spawn. Rust Monster. First strike, if you sacrifice an artifact, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. They don't seem scary, but then you're suddenly standing there in your underclothes without a weapon, and everything looks like a threat. Guild Thief. An Orc Rogue. Whenever Guild Thief deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And with cunning action, so for 3 and a blue, it can't be blocked this turn. She puts some coin in the guild's pocket and sends a message at the same time. Dungeon Map. It's an artifact, so if tap you get 1 mana, and for 3 and a tap, you venture in the dungeon. Activate only as a sorcery. Wait, is that a secret door? I can't tell for sure. There's some blood in the way. Westgate Region. It's a vampire with flying. Ward, discard a card. Whenever this creature becomes target of a spell or ability to an opponent controls, counter it unless that player discards a card. and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. So that +1/+1 for each amount of damage or each time. So otherwise, if it's the amount of damage, then because it doesn't have trample, so you're always putting. Well, you'll be putting 4 on it first, and then 8, and then 16. Jesus Christ. That's something you definitely want to be blocking then. Got a shiny great axe. And we got another plains. You've traced attentions in 10 towns to the dwindling reindeer populations for what has been hunting them. Shall I go for another pack? Or an hour in? Another set would be nice. Yeah, let's do another set. It might be half an hour. Another treasure, another precipitous drop, another minimus containment. Oh, I was about to say, oh no, yeah, we haven't had that one before. Arcane Investigator, Brazen Dwarf, Plummet, Thieves Tools, Spare Dagger, Direwolf Prowler, Cool Art Albert, Kick in the Door. There we go. Dragon's Disciple. It's a human monk. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. If you do, or if you control a dragon, Dragon Disciple enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Dragons you control have Ward 1. Dungeon Crawler. It enters the battlefield tapped. Whenever you complete a dungeon, you may return it from your graveyard to your hand. Think of it as giving them another chance to achieve their potential. Another Black Dragon, this is the normal artwork for it. Black Dragons revel in the collapse of humanoid kingdoms. Zorn, it's an elemental. If you would create one or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Nice. And that plains that we had before again. See, we're getting through them quickly now because we've got repeats. Draft archetypes. So what's that supposed to be? Oh, it's a spider. It also has draft archetypes on the back. That might be interesting for a read later. You've got another Priest of Ancient Law, got another Morden King Polymorph, got another Price of Loyalty, we've got another Inspiring Bard, we've got another Eyes of Beholder, yes. Devour Intellect for sorcery. Target opponent discards a card. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast a spell, instead that player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it, and then that player discards that card. I'll know what you know soon enough. Sure you will, mate. Another Baleful Beholder, another Improvised Weaponry, Veteran Dungeoneer. When it enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Her tales of glory light a fire in the souls of the next generation of adventurers. Cool artwork, Lurking Roper. It doesn't untap during your untap step. Whenever you gain life, you untap it. Wizard class. So, you have no maximum hand size. And then for 2 in the blue, when it becomes level 2, you draw 2 cards. And for 4 in the blue, whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Nice. Another Guild Thief. Yes, this is the card I actually wanted as well. Grandmaster of Flowers. Problem is, now that I've done this, I can't show this video to my friends now. Not until after we've done the one shot I want to do with this guy. But it's the legendary Planewalker, Bahamut. As long as Grandmaster of Flower has 7 or more loyalty counters on him, he's a 7/7 dragon god creature with flying and indestructible because he's the Platinum Dragon. Target creature without first strike, double strike, or vigilance can't attack or block this turn until your next turn. So this is a +1 and another +1. Search your library and or graveyard for a card named Monk of the Open Hand, which I've got in here. Yes, I am making a white deck with this guy. Reveal it and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle. Oh my god, I'm so happy I've got this. It's such an amazing thing. Yes. I'm using the artwork from the other version of this card, the black border one. This is a borderless one, but yes, that is amazing. Yes, and there's 7, yes. And we got a shiny veteran Dungeoneer as well. Oh man, that's good. And another one of the islands we've already seen. Yes. Oh my god, I'm so happy about that. Don't give a fuck what anyone else says now. I'm happy. I am very, very happy. So we got another one of these skeletons. Haven't found a card that actually needs skeletons. Got another Planar Ally, another Shocking Grasp, another Boost of Speed, another Full Strength, another Hired Hexblade. We got a Half-Elf Monk with Vigilance, Stunning Strike, so for 1 and a white, and tap. You tap a target creature. This fight was over the moment you picked up that clumsy cleaver of a sword. Another You Come to a River, another Feign Death, another Winter Dryad. This is the proper artwork version of it, isn't it? We had one that was the cool artwork version, wasn't it? I think so. Or was it? Or did we just have a normal one? Is it like right near the bottom? I don't know. Doesn't matter, I'm going to read it out anyway. So, for 2 and sacrifice this card, search your library for a basic forest card and put it on the battlefield, tap then shuffle. Its life force entwined with its tree. A dryad is an elusive and solitary being that wishes only to be left alone. Alright. You hear something on watch. Choose one. Rouse the party. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, or set off traps. This spell deals 5 damage to target attacking creature. Nice. Barbarian class. Yes. If you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice +1 and ignore the lowest roll. And then for 1 and a red, whenever you roll 1 or more dice, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains menace until end of turn. And for 2 in a red, creatures you control have haste. That's actually a really good thing to get that early as well and get up to level 3 early. Wild Shape. Choose 1 until end of turn. Target creature you control has that base power and toughness. Ooh, yes. Becomes that creature type and gains that ability. So it's either a 1/3 turtle with hexproof, a 1/5 spider with reach, or a 3/3 elephant with trample. Nice. Trelasara, Moondancer, another cool art card. It's green and white, so that will go on top of that one. So it's an elf cleric. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Trelasara. Moon Dancer, and Scry 1. Orb of Dragonkind. Okay, definitely, again, cannot share this video to my friends. But for 1 and tap, add 2 mana in any combination of colours. Spend this mana only to cast dragon spells or activate abilities of dragons. And for red and tap, and then sacrifice this card. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal a dragon card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And then a mountain that we haven't seen this one yet. As you make camp near the ancient ruins, you hear the sound of drums echoing the halls where no dwarf has lived in generations. Another draft archetypes and treasure. Another Bar the Gate. Dueling Rapier. Say equipment with flash. When it enters the battlefield, attached to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, and it costs 4 to attach it to other creatures. Another Spoils of the Hunt. Herald of Hadar. It's a human warlock. Circle of Death, so for 5 and a black, roll a d20. For 1 to 9, each opponent loses 2 life. 10 to 19, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And on a 20, each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life, and you create 2 treasure tokens. Devoted Paladin. Snork Knight. Beacon of Hope. When Devoted Paladin enters the battlefield, creatures you control get a +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. I swore a sacred oath to protect the weak and punish those who threaten them. As long as I draw breath, I will protect you. Another Plundering Barbarian. Another Owlbear. You're ambushed on the road. I think, did we already have that one? Yes, we did. It's not a cool artwork either, so. Another Vampire Spawn. Intrepid Outlander. Snork Ranger with Reach, Pack Tactics, so power of 6 or greater. Venture into the dungeon. Very good. Reaper's Talisman. Whenever a equipped creature attacks, it gains Death Touch until end of turn. Whenever a equipped creature attacks alone, defending player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. It's nice. Goblin Morningstar. Equipped creature gets 1 and +1/+0 and has trample, and equipped is 1 and a red. So you need 2 and 2 reds to use this the turn that you play it. And when it enters the battlefield, roll a d20, and for 1 to 9, create a 1/1 red goblin creature, and 10 to 20, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token, and then attach the Morningstar to it. Nice. Oh, we got another legendary creature. Delina, Wild Mage. She's an elf. For some reason they've got Shaman, but it's a sorcerer. But I guess it's... Okay, yeah, I understand why they're using Shaman rather than Sorcerer, because Sorcerer could be confused for Sorceries, which is a type of spell. So when it attacks, choose a target creature you control, then roll a d20. Create a tapped and attacking token. That's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary and it has exile this creature at the end of combat. And that's for a roll of 1 to 14. And for a roll of 15 to 20, create one of those tokens and roll again. Ooh, that's nasty. And we also We haven't had this card before. We've also got a foil, although you can't tell with my camera. Portable Hole. It's an artifact. When Portable Hole enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value 2 or less until Portable Hole leaves the battlefield. They fall for it every time. And a forest. As you venture deeper under the boughs of Neverwinter Wood, arrows in a tree trunk suggest you might not be welcome. Keep looking over there because that's where my box is, but the file that I'm going through is on my right. So is my knife. Ooh! Another fairy dragon. Charmed Sleep. It's an enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Another Frida's Fireball. Another Herd Gorger. Horde Robber. Whenever it deals combat damage, create a treasure token. And to think, a year ago, I was picking pockets in Waterdeep. Another Delver's Torch. Air Cult Elemental. With Flying and Whirlwind. So when it enters the battlefield, return up to one other target creature to its owner's hand. Elemental Evil distorts natural elements, limiting them to aspects of destruction. Cool artwork under Dark Basilisk. Another Arboreal Pegasus. Another Ranger's Hawk. And original artwork, Evolving Arms. Well, I say original artwork, normal artwork. So we already know what it does because we've got the cool artwork one, but it says parts of Faerun still churn with the magic of arrogant Neverese archmages long dead. We've got another legendary creature, a blue-white one. No, I don't already have one. So it's Hammer Pasha, Ruin Seeker. It's a human wizard. Room abilities of dungeons you own trigger an additional time. Someone took the time to carve these inscriptions. The least we can do is care enough to read them. Ray of Frost. So it's a enchantment aura with flash. You enchant a creature and enters the battlefield. If enchanted creature is red, tap it. As long as enchanted creature is red, it loses all abilities, and it doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Magic Missile. It's a sorcery. It can't be countered, and it deals 3 damage, divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. A tried and true favourite of many wizards, whatever their school. Hey, we got an elephant. Grazelax, Illithid Scholar. It's a legendary creature of also cast as a horror. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. You studied hard. How delicious. Fucking messed up that. We got a swamp. As you trudge through the sewers of Baldur's Gate, it dawns on you. Where are all the rats? I think my cat's staring in his sleep. As a thought of rats. Hey, we got a zombie. Unexpected Windfall. As an additional cost to the spell, discard a card. Draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens. Fortune Favors the Fortunate. Ranger's Longbow. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1 and has reach. It costs 3 to equip. With the right weapon, a fearsome beholder is nothing more than a big floating bullseye. Another hired hexblade. Another paladin shield. Soul Knife Spy. It's an elf rogue. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. My psychic blade cuts the mind and severs thoughts. Even if you survive, you'll never remember I was here. Hey, we got a normal mimic. It doesn't have any extra stuff on it. Just the normal artwork instead of the cool artwork. We also got normal artwork, Goblin Javelineer. Hate gets you only so far. A pointy stick can close the rest of the distance. Got another leather armor. Another kick in the door. Check for traps. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. Exile that card. If an instant or card with flash was exiled this way, they lose 1 life. Otherwise, you lose 1 life. Relax. I'm a professional. Got another Hunter's Mark. Another purple one. Ooh. Asarak the Archlich. When it enters the battlefield, if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation, return it to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. Whenever he attacks for each opponent, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token unless that player sacrifices a creature. We've got a shiny version of a forest we've already seen before, and we've got an island we've already seen before. We've got another different one. Tomb of Annihilation. Yes, now we can actually use Asarak as well. And it's the Atropal. Hey, let me just check those. So this one, you actually create the... Oh, it's a legendary Black God Horror creature token. Token legendary creature God Horror. Death Touch. That's why it creates that. Anyway, got Dueling Rapier. Cycle of the Moon Druid. Herald of Hadar. Minimus Containment. Arcane Investigator. Earthcult Elemental. Cool artwork Manticore. Another Spiked Pit Trap. Another Null Hunter. Another You Hear Something on Watch. Another Hulking Bugbear. Trickster's Talisman. So it's an equipment. Evoke Duplicity. Equipped creature gets a +1/+1, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice this. If you do so, create a token that is a copy of that creature. And it costs 2 to equip. Lady Luck. Smile on me. Got a blue dragon. It's a dragon with flying and lightning breath. When blue dragon enters the battlefield, until your next turn, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-0. Up to 1 other target creature gets -2/-0. And up to 1 target creature gets -1/-0. Nice. Bolo's Guide to Monsters. Cool artwork. Blue-green. Yeah, I already have one. Whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. Copy a creature spell becomes a token. Yeah. And a mountain we've already seen. Another treasure. Another Sylvan Shepherd. Another Deadly Dispute. Another Priest of Ancient Law. Another Shopping Grass. Another Price of Loyalty. A Celestial Unicorn. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Celestial Unicorn. When all hope fails, its light remains. Another Devour Intellect. I've got too much stuff on this table, making putting that pile on there harder. Another Rhyme Shield Frost Giant. Another Veteran Dungeoneer. Iron Golem. With Golem with Vigilance, and it attacks all blocks each turn, each combat if able. Once an Iron Golem is set to a task, it won't turn aside until that task is complete or it has been destroyed. Death Priest of Merkel. It's a Tiefling Cleric. Skeletons, vampires, and zombies you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 1. If you do so, create a 1/1 black skeleton creature token. Hey! Got loads of those. The Reaper bids you rise. People are going to be pissed that I have this. Temple of the Dragon Queen. It's a land. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you reveal a dragon card this way, or you control a dragon. As it enters the battlefield, you choose a colour, and when you tap, it's 1 mana of that chosen colour. So you have to remember what colour that you chose it for. Meteor Swarm. It deals 8 damage divided as you choose amongst target creatures and or planeswalkers. Sometimes 1 fireball isn't enough. Indeed. We've got a shiny Forsworn Paladin. And we got a forest, a new one. As the sun reaches its zenith on the day of the solstice, a castle shimmers into view on the hilltop, just as the ancient texts predicted. If I do this all as one video, it makes it harder for my friends to find it, so then they don't know about plans I have for creatures that I find in this set. So we got another Tomb of Annihilation Edgepro. Got another Scaled Herbalist. We've got another Fate's Reversal. We've got another Planar Ally. Got another Air Cult Elemental. Swarming Goblins. So when it enters the battlefield, roll a d20. For a 1 to 9, you create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. 10 to 19, create 2 of those. 20, you create 3 of those. Nice. Another Inspiring Bard. A Pixie Guide. It's flying. Granted advantage if you would roll 1 or more dice. Instead, roll that many dice +1 and ignore the lowest roll. Another, you find a Cursed Idol. Another Billet. Another Vampire Swarm. Critical hit. Oh. Damn it, it's not. Anyway, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. When you roll a natural 20, return critical hit from your graveyard to your hand. How do you kill what's already dead? That's how. Dryder. I saw this and I was hoping that it would be referencing us getting another card that I won. So it's the Elf Spider with Reach. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a 2/1 black spider token with Menace and Reach. Though their forms embody Lolth's image, Driders are those unfortunate drow who have failed the Spider Queen. Oh, that's interesting. You see a pair of goblins. Choose 1. Charge them. The creatures you control get +2/+0 until the end of turn. Befriend them. Create 2 +1 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. I have the shot. Shall I take it? And Teleportation Circle. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to one target artifact or creature you control. Then return the card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Hold on to your lunch. And then Island. As your ship clears the edge of Waterdeep Harbor. Oh yeah, we've already seen that one. Oh, there we go. Hey, we got the Goblin Dragon. And it's also, looks like, it's also, oh yeah, it's the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Didn't we already? We probably did, and I probably just completely forgot. Oops. And we got another Shaman Ghast, another Dwarf Champion, another Charm Sleep, another Armory Veteran, Eltugard Ranger. I think we already had that one. Yes, we did. Another Horde Robber, another You Come to a River, another Devour Intellect, another Leather Armor, Brunor Battlehammer. It's a legendary creature with Dwarf Warrior. Each creature you control gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to it. You may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost for the first equip ability you activate each turn. Sudden Insight. Draw a card for each different mana value among non-land cards in your graveyard. The lucky draw from the deck of many things gave Voltusk an inexplicable flash of understanding that he spent the rest of his life trying to repeat. Another Power Word Kill. A Dragon Turtle, cool art version. You got Flash. And Drag Blow, when it enters the battlefield, tap it and up to one target creature an opponent controls. Don't untap that during the controller's next untap step. Another Kick in the Door, and another mountain we've already seen. Another Skeleton token. Another Dawnbringer Cleric. Another Soul Knife Spy. Another Swarming Goblins. Find the Path. I don't think we've had this one already. This is Enchant the Land. Whenever it enters the battlefield, which is a dungeon. Oh yeah, we have that one. Another Supple Ghoul. Another Devoted Paladin. Another Ginny Windseer. A cool artwork version of the Celestial Unicorn. Another Great Axe. Another You Find the Villains There. Divine Smite. Target creature or planeswalker and opponent controls phases out. If that opponent is black, exile it instead. If it phases out, treat it and anything attached to it as though they don't exist until the controller's next turn. When darkness closes in around us, my blade will light our path. Nice. Skullport Merchant. It's a Dwarf Citizen. When Skullport Merchant enters the battlefield, create a treasure token, and for one of the blackened, sacrifice another creature or a treasure. Draw a card. Buy something or get out. Loathsome Troll. It's a troll, and for 3 and a green, roll a d20. Activate only if it's in your graveyard. A 1 to the 9, put it to the top of your library. 10 to 19, return it to your hand. Or a 20, returns to the battlefield tapped. A Blackstaff of Waterdeep. It's a legendary artifact. You may choose not to untap the Blackstaff of Waterdeep during your untap step. Animate Walking Statue. For 1 and a blue and tapping this card, another target non-token artifact you control becomes a plus a 4/4 artifact creature for as long as the Blackstaff of Waterdeep remains tapped. Activate only as a sorcery. That's why you can choose. And Forest. As monsters from the Underdark rampage across the world above, you've delved deep underground to determine what has driven them upwards. Oop. Again, I almost stabbed myself in the hand. Another one of these goblins that's Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Another Mordenkainen Polymorph. Another Unexpected Windfall. Another Ranger's Longbow. Another Grim Bounty. Another Half-Elf Monk. Another Secret Door. Another Underdark Basilisk. Another Manticore. Another Null Hunter. Another Yuan-Ti Flameblade. Aha. Sheshra. Death's Whispers. It's a human elf warlock with Bewitching Whispers. When it enters the battlefield, target creature blocks this turn if able, and Whispers of the Grave. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. We have a Wild Shape, Eccentric Apprentice. It's a tiefling wizard with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you venture into the dungeon. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've completed a dungeon, up to 1 target creature becomes a bird with base power and toughness of 1/1 and flying until end of turn. And the Hobgoblin, Bandit Lord. Goblin Rogue. If other goblins you control get +1/+1, and for red and tapping this, it deals damage equal to the number of goblins that entered the battlefield under your control this turn to any target. In a Hobgoblin's view of the world, the weak owe tribute and fealty to the strong. And a Swamp. You search for the stolen... Oh yeah, we've already seen that one. Yeah, let's finish off the box in one video, shall we? I know there's some people out there who are going to be like, no, don't do that. Too long already, it's like almost 2 hours. Screw you. So, another Tomb of Annihilation token, another Charmed Sleep, another Armory Veteran, another Outguard Ranger, another Horde Robber, another Dawnbringer Cleric, another Owlbear, cool artwork, Arborea Pegasus, another Steadfast Paladin, another Hoarding Ogre, another Wandering Troubadour, another Targnar Demon Fang Gnoll, another Grim Wanderer, Inferno on the Star Mounts. Of the Star Mounts. It's a legendary creature dragon. The spell can't be countered. It has flying and haste. And for a red, it gains +1/+0 until end of turns. When its power becomes 20 this way, it deals 20 damage to any target. So if you got 14 red, you can make that do 20 damage to any target. Oh my god. The Ancient Dragon, Invernahero, has earned its fiery nickname. We've got a foil clattering skeleton. And yeah, we've already read that. And another mountain we've already seen. See, we're getting through these quite quickly now. Here's the thing, I've said that I want 2 cards and I'm not getting them, but I've got another card that I actually wanted as well, instead. So I am happy with this box set, unlike the other one that I did, where I didn't get any of the cards I wanted. There's another one of those, another Soul Knife Spy, another Swarming Goblins, another Find the Path, another Sepulchral Ghoul, another Devoted Paladin, another Mordenkainen Polymorph, another Spike Pit Trap, Pixie Guide. It's a fairy with flying, and grants advantage. Oh wait, yeah, we had this. We had the cool artwork, right? Pixies are well known as pranksters, but some delight in more helpful magic. Another Plundering Barbarian, another Vampire Spawn, another Cleric class, ooh, itch. Another Split the Party, a White Dragon. It's a dragon with flying and cold breath. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. White dragons are unparalleled hunters, keenly focused on slaughtering their enemies. We got normal artwork Drizzt. Already seen what it does. And we got this forest again. So we got another one of these skeletons. Another Unexpected Windfall. Another Ranger's Longbow. Another Grim Bounty. Another Half-Elf Monk. Another Secret Door. Another Manticore. Another Goblin Cavalier. Another Spare Dungeon. Another Camp to No Camp. Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. Half-Elf Shaman. Psylocke spells. When Aberrant Mind Sorcerer enters the battlefield, choose target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard, then roll a d20. 1 to 9, you put it on top of your library. 10 to 20, you return that card to your hand. Nice. Another Prosperous Innkeeper. Plate Armor. Equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has Ward 1. And it has an equip 3, and this ability costs 1 less to activate each other equipment you control. That's pretty cool. Now we got the Bard class. So legendary creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on them, and then for another red and green legendary spells you cast control cost red and the green. That's the cast. This effect reduces only the amount of coloured mana you pay. Oh, so you can make these cards free. And level 3, whenever you cast a legendary spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. We've got a foil Lightfoot Rogue. It's Halfling Rogue with sneak attack. Whenever it attacks, roll a d20. For a 1 to 9, it gains Death Touch until end of turns. 10 to 19, it gets +1/+0 and gains Death Touch. And 20, it gains +3/+0 and gains First Strike and Death Touch until end of turn. Nice. And Island. New one. Alarmed by the news you brought in, the Storm Giant King of the Maelstrom has called his kin to council. Let's see what this token is. Here we got another wolf. Another Farida's Fireball. Another Eldritch Ranger. Another Zombie Ogre. Another Gloomstalker. Another Synesthesia. Another Armor Veteran. Another Pixie Guide. Another Great Axe. Cool artwork. Direwolf Prowler. Another Veteran Dungeoneer. Another You Find Some Prisoners. Another Demogorgon's Clutches. You meet in a tavern. You choose one. Form a party. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Or start a brawl. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Dancing Sword. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. When a equipped creature dies, you may have Dancing Sword become a 2/1 construct artifact creature with flying and ward 1. If you do so, it isn't an equipment. It costs 1 to equip. And another forest. Control your knife map. Almost stab yourself. Another treasure. Another ball of strength. Another precipitous drop. Another delver's torch. Another contact over plane. Another brazen dwarf. Another leather armor. Another spike chip pick trap. Another improvised weaponry. Another silver raven. Another evolving wilds. Another druid class. Another choose your weapon. The artwork version of Kalain. Another Force 1 paladin. And another mountain that we've already seen. See? How quick was that one? So we've got another Atropile Team of Annihilation token. Another Spoils of the Hunt, another Eyes of the Beholder, another +2 Mace, another Clever Conjurer, another Valor Singer, another Scale Herbalist, another Clattering Skeleton, another Devour Intellect, another Mimic, another Ranger's Hawk, another Rust Monster, another Burning Hands, a Red Dragon, nice. It's a dragon with flying and flame breath. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Nice. Gelatinous Cube. Say Ooze with Engulf. When Gelatinous Cube enters the battlefield, exile target non-ooze creature an opponent controls until Gelatinous Cube leaves the battlefield. Dissolve X in a black. Put target creature card with mana value X exiled with Gelatinous Cube into its owner's graveyard. Nice. And another swamp that we already control. So we are finding new cards in these ones, but they're coming quicker. So I'm hoping that we find one of the cards I still want. So another one of these. Another Fate's Reversal, another Dawnbringer Cleric, another Shortcut Seeker, another Jade Sellsword, another Compelled Jewel, another Deadly Dispute, a cool artwork Rhyme Shield Frost Giant, another You're Ambushed on the Road, another Borea Pegasus, another You Find the Villain's Lair, another Moonblessed Cleric, Ingenious Smith, Human Artificer. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards in the library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and place them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever one or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on a Genius Smith. This ability triggers only once each turn. So only summon 1 per turn. Another dungeon map. Ah, yes. Vorpal Sword, yes. It's a equipment, and equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Death Touch. And for 5 and 3 black, until end of turn, Vorpal Sword gains whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game, and the equipment costs 2 black. That that's so harsh. This black has got so many stuff that it just makes you lose the game. It just does it. And then another island we already already own. So another one of these skeletons, another Dwarfhold Champion, another Clever Conjurer, another Dragon's Fire, another Circle of the Moon Druid, another Thieves Tool, another Pixie's Guide, another Steadfast Paladin, another Great Axe, another You Hear Something on Watch, another Drider, Battle Cry Goblin. So for 1 in the red, goblins you control get +1/+0 and gain haste. And whenever you attack with power 6 or greater, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. Nice. Another warlock class, I think I think we already had. I'll just show it off anyway. You know, I'll read it. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. When this class becomes level 2, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand and the rest in your graveyard. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life that... Yeah, we've already seen that one. Sphere of Annihilation. So it's an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, with X void counters on it. X is the amount of extra mana you put on top of the 1 black that you need for it. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile Sphere of Annihilation. All creatures and planeswalkers with mana value less than or equal to the number of void counters on it, and all creatures and planeswalker cards in the graveyard with mana value less than or equal to the number of void counters on it. Yeah, so, yeah. That's pretty powerful if you do it in a certain way. And we've got a shiny Sepulchre Ghoul. And another Plains. Searching for a vanished caravan that was bound for a silvery moon. You come to a bank of mysterious fog. Getting to the end now, we've got 4 more packs. Another Tomb of Annihilation. An Atropar. Another Potion of Healing. Another Secret Door. Another Jade Cellspot. Another Compelled Jewel. Another Sepulchre Ghoul. Another +2 Mace. Cool artwork for a Baleful Beholder. Another Hobgoblin Captain. Another Direwolf Prowler. Another You Come to a Null Camp. Gretchen Titchwidow, which we've already got the null artwork for. We've already got the cool artwork for, but this one has the flavor text. Plant what you wish to see grow. Listen for the stories you want to hear told. Another Power of Persuasion. Another Eccentric Apprentice. Book of Vile Darkness. It's a legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, if you lost 2 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. And if you tap and exile this and artifact you control named Eye of Vecna and Hand of Vecna, create Vecna, a legendary 8/8 black zombie god creature token with indestructible. It gains all triggered abilities of exiled cards. Nice. And Forest that we've already seen before. Some of the Vecna cards just seem like a really bad idea to have. So let's just see. Another Treasure, Contact Other Plane, another Boost of Speed, another Sylvan Shepherd, another Grim Bounty, another Dreamstalker, another Shortcut Seeker, another Find a Cursed Idol, another Clattering Skeleton, another Gillette, another Veteran Dungeoneer, Keen-Eared Sentry. You have Hexproof. You can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponent control. So that's you, the player, has that. And each opponent can't venture into the dungeon more than once each turn. You are not the first to underestimate me. And that's actually really good because it's only a 1 white. Another Portable Hole. Cool artwork for a loathsome troll. Den of the Bugbear. It's a land. If you control 2 or more other lands, Den of the Bugbear enters the battlefield tap. You tap it and red. And for 3 in a red, until end of turn, Den of the Bugbear becomes a 3/2 red goblin creature with, whenever this creature attacks, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. It's still a land. And a swamp. As a plague ravages the world above, you've made your way into the Underdark in search of a fungal panacea. Ooh. have a look at the Love, Spider Queen, emblem, love. Whenever an opponent is dealt combat damage by one or more creatures you control, if that player lost less than 8 life this turn, they lose life equal to the difference. That, I don't know how you get to cast this card, but it's, oh my god. Oh. Does that mean, damn it, she's not in it, damn it. Anyway, we've got another Earth Cult Elemental, another Plummet, another Zombie Ogre, another Potion of Healing, another Cyanostygia, another Valor Singer, another Celestial Unicorn, another Feigned Death, another You Come to a River, another Silver Raven. You happen on a glade. Choose one, journey on, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put them in your hand and shuffle. Or make camp, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Ray of Enfeeblement. Target creature gets -4/-1 until end of turn. If that creature is white, it gains -4/-4 until end of turn instead. Eragon cried out in pain as hideous weakness settled into his bones. We got another Farida's Devil's Chosen. Got a Rogue class. So, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library, face down. You may look at it for as long as it remains exiled. Then for 1 blue and black, creatures you control have menace. For 2 blue and black, you may play cards exiled with Rogue class, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to cast those spells. Pretty decent, not gonna lie. And the forest we've already seen. And we've got the last packet. Am I going to get either one of the cards that I said I wanted in this last packet? Let's find the flip out. And so, we've got another one of these Goblin Mad Mage tokens. Another Herd Gorger, another Shambling Ghast, another Paladin Shield, another Bardic, another Dragon's Fire, another Find the Path, a cool artwork, Null Hunter, another Neverwinter Dryad, another You See a Guard Approach, another You Find the Villain Slayer, another Lightfoot Rogue, Tiger Tribe Hunter. It's a human barbarian with trample, pack tactics, so whenever you attack with 6 power or greater, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, this creature deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to a target creature. Nice. Another Cloister Gargoyle. Yes! Yes! Oh, yes, yes. I got one of the cards. Yes. Froghemoth. It's a frog horror with trample and haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile up to that many target cards from their graveyard. But a +1/+1 counter on Froghemoth for each creature card exiled this way. You gain 1 life for each non-creature card exiled this way. Oh, nice. And then another mountain. Oh, yes. I at least got one of them. Not the one that was most important, but I got one of them. Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. That makes it kind of worth letting my friends know about some of the plans I've got in the future, just to show them this video, just so I can piss off my DM. I'll think about it. Otherwise, I hope you had a good time watching this, and I will see you guys later.